1, 2, 3, let's go.
Wednesday afternoon, hoping you will tune into our show.
It says 2.5% of people, which is a very small percentage, isn't it? It's about 1 in 40 people, I think, can multitask. They can hear different. The actual example given was being at some sort of cocktail party or whatever, a party, and there's all sorts of conversations going on, and you think, well, which one are they this person, one of the 2.5% focusing on? But they can actually pick up different conversations, and as your mum used to do, still does, they can do it. So that she's probably in that 2.5%. It does happen, but it's very unusual.
Yeah. And I remember myself and my younger brother when we was kids, and she'll say something like, she's talking to her mate, and she'll be like, she'll be like, hold on. And she'll be like, oh, have you done that thing where I asked you to do? And I'll be like, no, you grumble. And she'll be like, she's still talking with her friends, and she'll be like, I heard that. I'm like, how could you possibly?
You have to be very careful what you say.
Yeah, I know. Well, I put it down to, when I was a kid, I used to put it down to, she would anticipate what you would say. Yeah. I think that's what it was. But then the restaurant one threw me off. It totally threw me off, because she'll be having a conversation with me, and then she can then tell me what somebody else from 2 tables down said. That must be an ability that women, because I don't think men can do it. My dad doesn't even listen to me half of the times, so I'm talking to him, and he'll be like, yeah, all right, hang on. What did you say again? I'm like, you're not listening, Dad, are you? So obviously.
Well, that's a good example, isn't it, of what we've been saying, that no one really, or very few people, can do 2 things at once, or can think 2 things at once. We just can't do it. And by actually reflecting on this, we actually try and analyze, what am I thinking at this moment? And when I'm thinking what I'm thinking, can I also think about something entirely different? And we can't. As you say, as I said just now, maybe there is a trigger sometimes. You're engrossed in something, and then you'll hear something somewhere else, which you won't necessarily pick up the full vibe about, but something has been said which triggers your interest, and therefore maybe then you stop doing what you're doing. But your mother clearly has a very unique ability. Very few people have that.
Very few.
But your father demonstrates what most of us are like. That we can't do 2 things at once. We can't.
My father couldn't even keep a conversation for more than 10 minutes. He's always thinking of the next thing. You're talking to him, he's thinking of the next thing. But anyway, so that brings up another observation that I made. From experience anyway. So I used to have one of my ex-girlfriends, and she used to be really worried about what I was thinking. So sometimes I'll get back from work, and I'll just be sat on the couch, and I'll just zone out, and she'd come to me and she'd go, what are you thinking? And I'll be like, nothing. And she'd be like, you're lying. Tell me the truth. Just share it with me. It's easier, blah, blah, blah. And she just bogs me down with all these questions. And I'm thinking, I just told you the truth. I am not thinking anything. I'm just tired. I just relaxing the brain. And I've heard comedians, not one comedian actually, quite a few comedians, I've heard them say that that women do not actually believe that men possess the ability to think nothing. Now, is that true?
Yeah, that's very interesting. Sorry, who did you say doesn't believe we have the ability? Women, you say?
Yeah, women don't believe. Women don't believe that we have the ability to.
No.
The leader of our gang will make the show go with a bang and fund the aim of everything Custis. And fund the aim of everything Custis.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Sorry, who did you say doesn't believe we have the ability? Women, you say?
Yeah, women don't believe. Women don't believe that we have the ability to
No,
to
no.
to think nothing. And I certainly have that ability to think nothing. Sometimes I
Do
just wake
you?
up. Yeah, sometimes I wake up and I sit on my bed doing nothing for like half an hour, and I'm like, hang on a minute, why you sat here? And I have actually been thinking nothing. The brain is just, empty. And then I thought there was a problem. I actually thought there was something wrong with him. Until I heard at least a couple of comedians say something about that, something in that line, say, their girlfriends used to buck them, saying, what you thinking, what you thinking. They don't actually believe that men can sit down and think nothing, like absolutely nothing. And it's true. I don't know if it's true in your case. What do you?
Well, I think it's a difficult one, really, because you seem to be very sure that as you sit on the bed, in the morning or whenever, your mind is empty of any thoughts. Then you did say then, at one point you said, well, what am I doing sitting here? So clearly a thought came in. Do you not find when you are awake, assuming you weren't almost asleep in that situation, do you not find that you have to try, if you like, and empty your mind, and that thoughts, irrespective, will jump into your mind, even not thinking about anything? It kind of goes in on itself. Do you really believe that you can think nothing? You've got no thoughts in your head at any given time?
Right. Okay. So I'm going to answer that question. Well, let me just think. So what I'm thinking is, and I could be right or wrong, either way, but what I'm thinking is, there's definitely a time period that I don't measure and I don't keep track of it, but there's definitely a time period. It might be 20 minutes, it might be 10 minutes, it might be 5 minutes, it could be an hour, where I sit there and there's no single thought in my head. I'm not thinking about anyone, I'm not thinking about anything, I'm not even thinking about what I'm going to do during the day. I'm just sat there. But I don't know how long that would be, because I don't measure it. I don't sit down, because obviously you're not thinking, so you're not going to think to measure it, are you? So I'm not thinking, I've been sat here for 20 minutes, I've been sat here for, but I don't think it. But as to when the next thought now comes into my head, I don't know, but I'm sure that I possess the ability to sit down and not think anything at all.
Can you bring that on at a moment's notice? Can you say, right, I'm sitting down, I'm a bit tired, I'm going to sit here and not think anything? I mean, in other words, is it a benefit to you? Do you feel better when you've had a period of not thinking?
That's a very good question. Now, it's auxiliary. It's not something that I bring on. Does that make sense? I don't, like some people can go into a sort of a meditative state.
Well, I was going to say, it's meditation, isn't it?
So
that's
some people can go into a meditative state where, they force the mind to be empty, at least for a period of time, where, they sit down there and it's nothing but emptiness. I don't bring it up on. It just happens. So it's totally involuntary. So I don't know.
How often does it happen? How often does that happen?
Oh, I have it more than it can happen at any time. The only time that I would recollect is when I then come back to, consciousness. Yeah. Well, I'm not unconscious, but sort of like mental consciousness. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
And I go, right, hang on a minute. I'm supposed to, and then that's when all the thoughts start rushing in. All my worries, all my fears, and everything it's like a big rush of it. And then I start filtering it. I feel, all right, calm down. Okay, so I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. So yeah, I do have it more often than I can count.
Of our gang will make the show go with a bang. and fund the aim of everything cost us, and fund the aim